It's over, it's over, it's over. Let's talk about the final part of the Real Housewives of Dubai reunion. Welcome back to the Kempire Daily YouTube channel, your #1 source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. And before we begin, we're going to get into our disclaimer, a reminder. We've been doing this disclaimer since the beginning of our Real Housewives of Dubai recap. A reminder, my thoughts, the Kempire LLC, all of this is for a commentary, for fun, open-mindedness. Here at the channel and here at YouTube, I'm sure they would say, do not support the UAE's history of homophobia, misogyny, and human rights violations from over the years. And thank you to all of you in the comment section reminding me, disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. We've been posting that up since the beginning of these recaps, and we will continue to do that. Here's the thing. Let's get into this final part of the reunion. I did take notes. I have to say, the part 2 of the Real Housewives of Dubai reunion felt a little haphazard for me. I felt like they were all over the place. At one point, I feel like there's a battle happening. Then another point, I feel like, oh wait, maybe we're making amends. Maybe not. So as you know, part 1 ended with Lesa Milan's book of lies that were created by Sergio. That's the only person I think that has the patience and the time enough to do something like that. I don't even expect Caroline Stanbury to sit around and make that book. That really, at the end of the day, ended up being a big womp, womp, womp. Because what was in that book? All we got to see was the license looks. Look, we were just talking about She by Sheree. Sidebar, She by Sheree, the website, is officially down again. And I think it's not because they've sold out of things. I think because of the prices, people were heavily criticizing Sheree for these prices. And I've seen all the jokes you guys have been making about the Queen Elizabeth, who passed away yesterday, saying that she got to see She by Sheree and she too could not afford those prices. We know that's not true. Anyways, so one of the things that they highlight in, and I'm sure they probably showed more in the reunion, but we only got one piece of what was in this book, and it was Lesa's stolen designs. As Lesa said in part 1, she designs 90% of the Minero stuff, and then 10% is licensed. Not unusual for designers. That's why I didn't really make a big deal about She by Sheree having an exact design from Shein. And part of me sort of like, very much what Lesa was saying, you know, yeah, you have something similar, but then you add a belt here, a thing there. So that's what kind of threw me off with Sheree. But Sheree ended up not taking or using or selling that yoga outfit, tracksuit, whatever you want to call it, when the website was finally put up. So Lesa Milan explains that to Andy, because Andy's like, well, yeah, these look exactly alike. The same could probably be said for Caroline Stanbury's shoe line. Yes, I see the tweets. Some of you were like, well, what about this, Caroline Stanbury? Your shoe line matches this other shoe line. Unfortunately, the fashion industry is very much like that. The Kardashians have been accused of this before. There's not a lot of people out there with original ideas, unfortunately. However, Mina Rowe does have some looks now available on Lesa's website that are hers and that we've seen on the show. As I said in my first part of this reunion recap, I was like, okay, Lesa is going to get the candy crown because she has merch available. She had the Misco t-shirts available, and then she had, you know, she has some more merch available in regards to what happens during this reunion. And I can appreciate that. I would have appreciated that with any of the housewives if they were to do anything like that. If Brooks did something like that, if Caroline Stanbury did something like that, I could appreciate a smart businesswoman taking this opportunity and running with it. I feel like Lesa was the only one. Even Chanel Ayan could have done it, and she hasn't done it. So I feel like, you know, we were the first one to call them Ayanisms here on the show. So I would have loved to see that on a t-shirt. I would have loved to wear that on a t-shirt. Just saying. Hint, hint, hint. But anyways, back to this. So part 2, like I said, honestly, And I get why people have said they couldn't gravitate to the Real Housewives of Dubai. However, a lot of you that have said that you couldn't gravitate to the Real Housewives of Dubai only watched one episode or half of an episode. You can't say anything like that about a show if you don't give the show a chance. So many of you are in love with Potomac now, but you weren't in the beginning. And I do think that Dubai has the potential to be a great show with some fine tuning and with people getting comfortable in front of the camera, including Brooks. I felt like Brooks probably drank a lot because she wasn't comfortable in front of the camera. Or she just likes to drink. Who knows? But in season 2, Brooks, I would like to see you drink less. Because I think what we see on social media, although it can be problematic and troublemaking, I do believe that you have it in you to be a great housewife, to be a great reality TV star. But you got to stop. Look, we love twerking on the fence, but I don't feel like she twerks on the fence. I believe she is one way on one side of the fence and another way on the other side of the fence. Just saying. But we'll get back to Brooks. So let me state it in order. So Lisa's Book of Lies, they thought they were going to have a Monique moment, but they didn't. It was a big womp womp womp, Caroline Stanbury. Your Book of Lies did not hit the way you thought it was going to hit, but I'm not surprised because you think you're a lot more interesting than you really are. Anyways, so at one point, Lisa Milan calls Caroline Stanbury the Wicked Witch of the Middle East. So this back and forth between Lisa and Caroline Stanbury gets really ugly. It gets really ugly. And that's why I said it's important for us to watch this, in full. But even when we're watching in full, these editors are so tricky with the way that they edit things. Because even when the trailer... Caroline Stanbury calls Lisa, "Oh, you former escort in Miami." Well, they showed that in the trailer first, and then the Epstein stuff after. So I thought maybe it was in response to that. It's neither here nor there, because once Lisa brings up the Epstein, first of all, Lisa says Lisa has been having these escort rumors since, remember, Lisa's not new to reality TV. She's been having these escort rumors for a while, and she's gotten ahead of it and posted receipts in regards to the pictures with her Johns and things like that on social media. But like we said, even if she was, sex work is work. Stop trying to, make it seem like it would be a bad thing, like she was holding this big dark secret about Lisa Milan. Well, Lisa then shots back at her, which I thought was like, whoa, you're in Epstein's book? Jeffrey Epstein, Google it. I'm not going to get into it here. So there are a lot of people, including the Queen's son, Prince Andrew, connected to Jeffrey Epstein. However, Prince Andrew has more serious allegations than just a connection to Jeffrey Epstein. All right. So she points that out, and Andy's like, "You're in Jeffrey Epstein's notebook?" And she's like, and the thing is, like, she doesn't even get what she says in this moment is like, whoa, not only are you owning that you were in the book, she says, yes, I was good friends with all of them. Okay, what does that mean? Like, no qualms about it. Just like, yes, I was good friends. Okay, not good friends, because God only knows what the good friends knew and saw. But word on the street, Caroline Stanbury loves being in these rooms with these rich and powerful people. She loves being connected to that. Now that she's connected to it and it has a stink on it, you think that she would sort of be like, yes, I knew him. We were very good friends. However, I didn't know he was doing any of those. She didn't even say that part, unless that was edited out, which is very possible. But I don't think the editors would edit that part out. Like, at least give her the moment of like, yes, I knew them. I partied with them. However, I didn't know anything about that. We didn't get that for Caroline Stanbury because she probably saw no problem with being friends with someone like this. But anyways, so the Book of Lies were really a book of nothing. And honestly, I would have been here for it if it was a big Monique moment. Look, straight shooter here. If there was actual receipts in that book that meant something, then I would have been like, oop, Lisa, she got you there. She got you there. But it wasn't. It wasn't. It was a big womp, womp, womp. And honestly, although I do feel like it was them trying to have a Monique moment, at the same time, I was like, well, if there's something there, I'm here for the okie doke. I'm here for the snapback. Finally, Caroline Stanbury has been activated and will be interesting on the show. And it wasn't. And it wasn't. Lesa also points out that Caroline Stanbury can't get a mortgage in Dubai. It's hard to get a mortgage in Dubai. And apparently Caroline Stanbury, look, I've heard all kinds of things about Caroline Stanbury and her reputation in Dubai. So Nina, who was activated in this particular episode, she's also very activated on social media. They talk about what Lesa was told by Nina in regards to things about Caroline Stanbury. She's trashy, she's ghetto, she's ratchet. And Lesa, when asked about this, okay, Lesa says, no, that's not exact. Those weren't her exact words. She called her trashy, which AKA also means ratchet and ghetto. Yeah. It does. That's just the other form of it. In certain circles, in certain communities, yeah, trashy wouldn't be the word that we use. It would be like, oh, she's ghetto, she's ratchet, she has no class, those types of things. It all means the same, to be honest with you. So she says that, and she says she was told by Nina about Caroline Stanbury. But I will agree with Nina that, you know what? That was my initial impressions of Caroline Stanbury. However, now that I've gotten to know her, I feel a little bit differently. But I also think that Nina is almost a sniper from the side, which I've said before makes her a great housewife. Because to me, you don't see her coming with her shade. You don't see her coming with her maneuvering and playing Monopoly with the women. But apparently, Lesa, who's had the longest relationship with Nina there, and look, yes, just because they've known each other for a long time doesn't mean that they were best of friends. There are plenty of people I've known for 20 years and they're not my best friend. But if I saw them like, oh, I've known you a very long time, how are you, blah, blah. But they've known each other a very long time. There have been all kinds of accusations. I don't know what went wrong in Lesa and Nina's friendship. I really wanted to get to the bottom of a couple of things in part 2 that we didn't get to the bottom of. What was the real issue between Chanel Ayan and Caroline Stanbury? And what was the real issue between Lesa Milan and Nina Ali? They sort of hover around it, but I don't feel like we got to why. I know fans will be still like, so what was the issue between, why out the gate, Ayan and Caroline Stanbury didn't like each other? What happened to the friendship between Lesa and Nina? I feel like there was so much more happening there. And maybe in season 2, they can unpack that. And I do sort of like at the end, Caroline and Ayan and Lesa and Nina seem to get to a better place. I feel like Lesa and Nina, not so much, but definitely Ayan and Caroline, they seem to get to a better place. I felt like Ayan was apologizing. She apologized to Sarah. She apologized to Caroline for different moments. But I also agree that why would Ayan feel as if Caroline Stanbury was giving her a compliment? Especially if you've been gaslighting her this entire season. Especially because, according to Ayan, you didn't want her to be on the show. You called her before the show and said, yeah, this is my vehicle. This is meant for me. You do not want to do this. Or Brooke saying, they're not going to understand you. They understood her enough for her to be a fan favorite. And a lot of you were very upset about that. Andy did confirm during the reunion that, yes, Bravo was very interested in seeing where Caroline Stanbury was now. Look, they were only interested in Caroline Stanbury, first of all, because she had a relationship with Bravo and, Real Housewives, okay, because of Ladies of London. But they were more interested in bringing the Real Housewives to Dubai. They thought it would be easier to do it with a Caroline Stanbury because she's a familiar face. However, they calculated wrong. I was just saying this recently about how reality TV is moving. They're depending on people that are already known. And that's something that they did in the music industry. And that had horrific results for the music industry. Stop relying on people that already have a fan base. No. Don't be afraid to help mold and build and create reality TV stars like you originally did. We didn't know who Nene was back in the day. There are plenty of people that we all run into that be like, oh my God, you should be on reality TV. You're so hilarious. Or you're just a hilarious, natural person. You can't help but be yourself. That's what we need. Caroline Stanbury, I was looking forward to seeing her on this show. And it ended up being not what we expected. It ended up being just like, first of all, get engaged with the show. So I don't believe Brooks. I don't believe you, Brooks. I don't believe that there was some sort of plot to have the group kick out Stanbury. No, because it wouldn't have worked. Because the interest, Bravo's original interest, was to use her to be the nucleus for the show. Even though I do believe that Nina really was the nucleus because she knew everyone. However, no one knew who Nina was. And Nina really didn't step out in this whole situation as a star. But I do believe she sort of plays that role of, yeah, we don't need everyone to be in your face or fabulous. Or no, she was like this subtle fabulousness. And the conversation about who is the richest on this I'm going to jump around because this reunion was all around. And I want to make it interesting and engaging for you. I'm not going to go through step by step. There's certain things that I want to bring up. So a conversation about who's the richest ended up happening. And I think it was Caroline Brooks who was like, oh, yeah, because we know you're the richest. And then Andy's like, oh, you're all beautiful. You're all rich. But I beg to differ. They're not all rich. I mean, rich in comparison to some people. Look, there are, poor people in the world. But they're not all rich. And apparently there is a debate whether or not Nina Ali is the richest. I don't even care at this point. You're all doing very well. Well, now, I don't want to say. Most of you are doing very well for yourselves, okay? Most of you are doing very well for yourself. But let me tell you guys this, and we all have these prejudices and stereotypes, and we automatically want to believe certain people on this cast are the richest. And I trust and believe you would be probably incredibly wrong. That who you think is the richest, who you think comes from money, just because of the way that they look, you'd be incredibly wrong. But anyways, and stop Googling people's net worth. Celebrity net worth gives you an idea, but they are usually way off. Way off. A lot of times these people are a lot richer than they say, or a lot poorer than they say. Just saying. So that conversation comes up, but also they talk about Nina's behavior at Mina Rowe's fashion show. And we almost forgot about that. I'm glad it came up because to me, it was one of the standout moments for Nina in regards to her personality that made us kind of look at her like, why are you acting like this? And one of the things that came up was like, well, she's vegetarian. There were no vegetarian options for her. Well, according to Lesa, there were vegetarian options, and it is very unusual for a fashion show to even have food. To me, this was a fight that they could easily get over and move on from. It didn't have to be this big thing, but I have to say, remembering that scene, it was cringeworthy. It was definitely cringeworthy in regards to that. Nina, Lesa, I think you guys can get over this. I can definitely see a good relationship between the two of these ladies in season 2. Very possible. Very, very possible. All right. Moving on from that. Where's Jumeirah? What's wrong with living in Jumeirah? Look, a lot of us in America are like, what's wrong with Jumeirah? And Elisa says there's nothing wrong with living in Jumeirah. This is where real people with real money live. And then according to Caroline Stanbury, she's like, well, I live where the prince lives. Caroline. You just continue to just show us that you are an influencer just here to promote what Dubai wants us to promote. I live where the prince lives. Okay, I don't care where you live. Do you own where the prince lives? Anyways, let's move on. Okay, there's a break. So the ladies have a lunch break. Brooks FaceTimes Phaedra. I believe this was all manufactured by production. They wanted Brooks to have another Phaedra moment. We don't want Phaedra on the Real Housewives of Dubai. We already know it wouldn't be real. It wouldn't be real. Oh, she's going to buy a home in Dubai. Oh, just so that she can be on the show? Not interested. Because there's no authentic relationship happening between Phaedra and these women. And honestly, the toxicity of Phaedra, just the stink of Phaedra, continues to be carried wherever she goes. And honestly, at this point, I'm not even here for Phaedra coming back to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Just based off of what I've been seeing and hearing. I'm just like, okay, Phaedra, You've had your run. And especially because, if Phaedra showed some sort of ownership in what she did with the whole Candy situation, let's take Candy out of the situation. Let's take the whole accusation. If Phaedra just took ownership and like, you know what? I apologize. I was wrong. I was wrong. You were wrong. You basically said something that was not the truth. He's like, oh, that's what I was hearing. So you know now that it wasn't the truth. Why not apologize? If you did not see it firsthand, if you did not have firsthand knowledge, that means you were spreading a rumor that could have damaging effects. As an attorney, you should know better. But you can't even apologize? Girl, I'm good on Phaedra. But I know some of you still want Phaedra. We can debate about it in the comment section. When I say debate about it, you can debate amongst yourself. I don't care. I said what I said. Anyways, okay, so Chanel Ayan. So Chanel Ayan talks, they show her package. Oh, wait, rewinding back. So Brooks FaceTimes Phaedra. Caroline Stanbury FaceTimes with Nina and their husbands. Again, the conversation, why were the husbands not invited? Clearly, we're in New York. Rich was in New York. Sergio and Nina's husband all were in New York. But you notice the different reactions. Rich is encouraging Lesa, are you guys building bridges? We're all thinking he does not know the show. But he wants them to get to a better place. The other husbands, a completely different reaction. Moving on. Chanel Ayan, they play her package of what went on throughout the season. Fan favorite. She really had a fantastic season. I'm sure this is part of the reason why people have such a, people on the cast have such a strong reaction to her, is because they did not expect her to be, or maybe they did, and that's part of the reason why they're like, ah. Anyways, so they play her situation, and of course, they talk about the trauma that she's gone through in her life, specifically the FGM. And she explains there's three different types. And she did not have the genital mutilation. She actually had hers sewn up. So there are different types. And as you know, when we recap this specific episode, we had some women call in and talk about their experience. And I'm glad that she's talking about it. She revealed during the reunion that it was her aunt that did this, to her. She was supposed to be going on this vacation with her aunt and her sister, and this happened to her and her sister, Ifra. And she reveals that, this is what happened to me. And Andy Cohen, this was a great question because I think a lot of people wanted to know, how has this affected your relationship with your husband? And she says that when they were married, she was still sewn up. She had to go back to, because she was living in Brazil, she had to go back to Kenya so that they could open her up. And she says one important detail that I think a lot of people may have missed, she says her husband paid for that. So there are women that have to live with this because they can't afford to have the surgery to fix what happened to them, the trauma that happened to them, the abuse that happened to them. So she talks about that, and she got really emotional about it, but I think it's such an important conversation to have. She also talks about how her aunt, she says she still holds resentment to her aunt, but her aunt grew up in this world that probably made it seem like it was okay. It probably happened to her, but now she's trying to make amends by helping other people gain knowledge about it. So I thought that was a powerful moment, and we're going to continue to talk about it, and I hope they continue to talk about it. Maybe we can have a scene next season with Chanel and her aunt talking about it and why her aunt decided to do that, especially if her aunt is now in a position of teaching people about this. I think it would be an important conversation to have and make amends between Chanel and her aunt, because I don't know what their relationship is right now, but I think that would be an educational moment. All right. So Brooks said that Chanel and Lesa were plotting to have Caroline S. Stanbury to be removed. We talked briefly about that. Andy confirmed that, yes, they were very much interested in having Caroline Stanbury be the center focus for this show because they wanted to, they knew she had this new life. Whatever. It ended up being a big womp 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 for Stanbury because she ended up not being the star of this show, despite sitting right next to Andy. She can thank Chanel for that, honestly. There was another package that they played of the kids. And one of the things I have to say, watching this package of the kids of the Real Housewives of Dubai made me just like, I just love all the kids. I love Sarah's kid. He's hilarious. Just that he just drags his mother, which we needed. She needed that. Sarah, he made you a lot more likable on this show. He really did. Speaking of, okay, let me just focus on the kids. We got that moment. We got Taj. We had a moment with Taj, who we love on the show. I'm still waiting for my wig, Taj. I need to get that hair piece. Who else did they play? I love when they played the scene with Lisa's sons. I forgot about that scene, like the first scene with her boys, where she says they all have a different accent. Because first of all, they have an English father, they have a Jamaican mother who grew up in America, and I was like, oh my God, they really do have a different accent, each of them. Love her boys. Love how she dresses them all the same. Who else? Oh, and I love Nina's kids. Look, I think Nina is so important for this show. Sidebar, Nina's fruitcake. I don't know if I talked about this in part one. It's because, Lisa called us like, none of you guys have a thriving business. But Nina's like, I have a fruitcake business. And look, the response to me just made me go like, wait, a fruitcake business? But fruitcakes, what we know here in the States, fruitcake is not anything delectable. But I've seen Nina's fruitcakes. It sounds so wrong. But I've seen Nina's fruitcakes. They look actually like something that I would eat. Like the fruit is on top of the cake and not in the cake. I don't know what's in the cake, Nina. I know you watch. What's in the cake? I need to know a breakdown of it. Looks delectable. It looks delectable. According to Brooks, she says that the cakes are delicious and one of her faves. Okay. All right. She has a business. I hope that even if you guys don't have a business, that you take this opportunity and you make some business. Be smart. Don't wait till 7 seasons down the line, if you even get that opportunity to launch a business. And I feel like all of them are. Brooks is launching the glass house. Ayan is just elevating everything that she does. Lisa continues to elevate her business. Sarah, I don't know what your business is. I know you say you've had multiple tech companies, even one to investigate the N-word tweet, whatever. Stanbury is an influencer. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with being an influencer. Chanel Ayan, at one point when they bring that up, he called me a 50-year-old influencer. Chanel's like, but you are. She's not 50 yet, right? But there's nothing wrong with being an influencer. Some of these influencers, some people, like I said this before, people like to downplay what I do here as, oh, you're just a YouTuber, you just you just gossip about people. Let's keep in mind, the people that say these things in the comments section or on social media are just upset that they're not able to do what you're able to do and make tons of money and have the freedom and independence that you have. So I'm never going to hate on Caroline Stanbury for making a living out of influencing. I just don't love seeing the obvious influencing and just that on the show. And people saying, well, she grew up with money and she has money from her father and da-da. No, all her money right now is from influencing, which is nothing wrong with that. And I wish you would have said that. Like, ain't nothing wrong with that. I make a good coin from it. Bloop. Just saying. And she does. And she gets to stay in some fabulous hotel. Lord, have her. One day I will be doing the same. And I'll be like, yes, that's how you do it. I don't have to pay for this fabulous hotel. Fantastic. I don't have to pay for my treatments of this or that. Fantastic. So anyways, moving on from that. Okay. Andy does ask Sarah Al-Madani about the 365 actor. We've talked a little bit about this. There were rumors, multiple blogs and Reddit threads about Sarah's relationship with a man that she managed and was a business partner with. Andy asked her about that, and we're body language experts, and she basically says, I was just his manager and business partner. Body language said, Sarah, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Look, I've seen the rumors. I've heard the rumors. We've mentioned the rumors. We mentioned, there was a rumor that she left her son for over a year to, fly around the world with this man. He tattooed her name on his body. They asked her about that. She says, no, it was his goddaughter's name. Okay, girl. That's your response. That's your response. She also has another response, and I made sure that I had the tweet open and available. She says this in regards to Chanel Ayan's accusation on part one, in regards to her calling the police or trying to take legal action against Chanel Ayan for calling her preachy and judgmental. So she posted this tweet on September 5th and says, "I will say this once because I don't entertain false, fake, and petty conversations. I did not call the police on her. It's a lie. I told her if she ever talked about my reputation or my business to social circles in my country, behind my back again, I'll take legal action." And you guys are dragging her in in the comment section. Dragging her in the comment section. Here's the thing. You know I have multiple sources in the UAE. I've had these sources before the show. After we started talking and reporting about this show, more sources came to me. And look, they're just sources. I'm not taking them as fact, okay? However, when multiple people are saying the same thing, when people post their own receipts of you insinuating, trying to deal with them in a different way, as she said to Caroline Brooks at the Ethiopian restaurant, makes me believe you. And for those of you that live in the UAE, you've also been in the comments section confirming when she says that she would deal with Caroline Brooks in a different way. When Chanel Ayan says, oh, she threatened to take legal action against me, that's a serious thing for an Emirati woman to say to someone, because the government there takes that very seriously, and Chanel could end up in jail if she was to take legal action. So Sarah, save me with the tweet, because yes, you are relying on American ignorance of us not knowing of why would she sue you for calling preachy? Chanel, you're overreacting. Well, not according to our sources in the UAE. They're like, no, if a Emirati woman was to say something like this, she could be in very big trouble. And according to screenshots that have been sent to me, this isn't your first time doing that. Just saying. Look, moving on. So, as I said to you before, throughout the reunion in part two, Chanel Ayan apologizes to Caroline Stanbury. She even apologizes to Sarah and thanks Sarah for connecting her to the hypnotherapist, because she said she felt like such a big weight was lifted from her. And I really wish that they could have gotten to a better place, but it was very clear, it was very obvious that four of these women, Caroline Stanbury, Caroline Brooks, Nina Ali, and Sarah, all joined up together to go against Lesa and Chanel. And I think that also made this reunion less interesting, because I would have rather them address all of their issues with each other instead of just glossing over and focusing on the two fan favorites. The two fan favorites. Were they my favorites? I have to say, my favorites for this show, they all played a part that made me enjoy Real Housewives of Dubai. Chanel Ayan, I didn't expect to love her the way that we love her now because of these little Ayanisms. Lesa representing in just look, I feel like Lesa got activated towards the end of the season, but she gave us really great confessional moments. I'm looking forward to see more of what she will bring in the future. Love seeing her. I want to see more of the husbands. I said this last week. I want to see more of the husbands. They don't need to be on our screens like Jersey husbands. Sidebar, Jersey husbands don't get paid. They confirmed that recently. Jennifer Aiden confirmed that. They don't get paid. And I get it. They're busy. Chris is busy. They're all doing big things. I understand they can't make a lot of time for the show, but they want to support their wives. I want to see more of this, because from what I hear, Rich and Chris are real friends. I want to see them hanging out. I just don't see it working with Sergio. Just saying. Anyways, oh, and the Sergio rumors continue. But anyways, we'll move on. It's not worth it. So back to Elephant Brain. So back to this. So I love what Sarah brings when it comes to the real experience of an Emirati in the UAE. And I know a lot of Emirati women would not do the show because of what the show represents. So we were privileged enough to have at least someone there representing. And although there were some forced fake moments, I'm grateful for having her there for that. Nina, like I said, I feel like Nina's a perfect very like beige personality. She's not in your face, but it's necessary. And I like seeing the way she parents. They talked about her parenting style. They talked about after they did the kids package. They talked about their different parenting style. Caroline Stanbury talking about how she went to boarding school and how she didn't really have an emotional connection with her parents. And she says because of that, she did have challenges with connecting with her children, but she definitely tries a little bit harder to not be that way with her kids. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the honesty of that. Caroline Brooks talked about, parenting with her son. And I like Caroline Brooks too. I felt like her confessionals were fun. She also loves to stir the pot. She will be a producer's pet if necessary. I really do. So I see her being there important. All of them played an important part. Even Caroline Stanbury, she played the part that they wanted. It got enough people engaged into the show to see these other women and now be like, oh, Caroline Stanbury is cool, but I love these other ladies. Anyways, moving on from that, one of the other big issues that we saw when they went on their final girls trip, and they were talking about the struggles that Black women have with the way that they're viewed and how hard they have to work to gain respect, and how white women are viewed as fragile. And the minute they start crying, it's like, oh my gosh. So Caroline Brooks was called out for playing both sides of the fence with that conversation. One minute she's having Chanel and Lesa's back. The next minute she's over at Caroline Stanbury's home, and it's just like, how are you? Are you okay? And she says, well, in all truth, this is the way that Black women are viewed and the struggles that Black women have. Caroline Stanbury, and I get this is her level of ignorance, trying to associate what we're talking about here with how Black women are viewed and treated in society, comparing it to your boarding school experience. This was a moment for you to sit and listen and learn. This was not a moment for you to compare your woe is me story. Just saying. Anyways, they move on from all of that, thankfully. And one of the ways that they ended this reunion, and one of the ways that they made this reunion a little bit different than any other Real Housewives reunion, was the ladies exchanging gifts. And this was also inspired by Chanel. Every time she would arrive, she would bring a gift. She brought a goat, she brought lemons, she brought onions, she brought nothing to Caroline Stanbury's home. So they exchanged gifts, and the group exchanged. So Ayan gave to Caroline Stanbury an extinguisher to put out their fire. Caroline Stanbury gave to Lesa a sock puppet because, as you know, in her confessional, she says that Chanel Ayan is her puppet, and I don't remember what it was, but she brought a puppet because she believes that that's the type of relationship that Lesa and Chanel have. Okay, Lesa gives to Nina How to Be a Friend book, and they hug it out at the end of this. All the ladies hug when they exchange gifts. And she's like, Lesa gives, and she's like, you can take notes from me. I hope they get to a better place. And I'm sure that's going to be part of their story for next season, them trying to get to a better place. Nina gives to Sarah equipment for her podcast. Why are you encouraging this? I will not be listening to that, Nina, but okay. Sarah gives to Brooks a trip to the Maldives. Okay. I guess when they make this trip, we'll see it. All right. I mean, I want a trip to the Maldives, but I'll book it myself. So, and then Brooks gives to Ayan a dictionary and lemonade. And Ayan is just like, I'll take it. It's just another dig in regards to Ayan and the way that she speaks. I'm not going to try and be politically correct here, but that was a little like, girl, the lemonade would have been cuter. But that's a wrap. That's a wrap on this season, the first season of the Real Housewives of Dubai. It's been an up and down season. I know a lot of people had different opinions about it. They called it boring, but a lot of you got your life for the Ayanisms, the Lesa moments, the Caroline Stanbury being a Karen moments, Nina Ali being a sniper from the side, Sarah Al-Madani faking the funk, even though we know she had a relationship with that man, allegedly. Either way, it was a solid season. I look forward to all of these ladies coming back and getting some new ladies in the mix. That's the word on the street. Going to be a bunch of new ladies being tested. Word on the street. Some of them being tested right now as we speak. Filming, though, I believe doesn't happen until the end of the year. I'm looking forward to it. Shout out to everyone that was a part of our live chats, part of our conversations, even Caroline Brooks coming in, stirring the pot, getting people activated in the comment section. Thank you to all of you. Thank you to the human rights groups that pointed out some of the things that we needed to focus on, which created our disclaimer at the top. Shout out to our moderators. We appreciate you because I know sometimes those conversations got very heated and dark at times. We appreciate you. And thank you to the housewives for being in my DMs, trying to get the story straight, tagging me in your tweets. I appreciate you, but at the same time, stay away from me. Stay away from me. Look, stay away. No, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being a part of a new show and seeing where this show goes. Guys, I want to know your reaction to part 1, part 2, and the season overall. Give me your rating for the part 2 reunion from 1 to 10, and give me your rating for the season. What would you shift? What would you change? The producers are watching. Shout out to the producers. Producers, I hope you were watching as well. And look, I'm not a producer. You know better than I do, but I hope from the opinions of our callers, the opinions of our live chat, or the opinions in our comment section helps you develop a successful, multicultural, fun show, making it very different than what we're experiencing currently with some of the cities here in the States. Guys, let's continue this conversation below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Thanks for watching.